Mark Davis approached Brenda and me for the video, and what I heard him to say was, would you talk about the sacrilegious life? Because we're qualified to talk about the sacrilegious life, but I knew that he had said, would you address sacrificial life? And I tell that story because I don't feel worthy to talk about the sacrificial life, because I'm on the journey with the Lord about what that means for me, with time, talents, and treasures.
Bill and I first met, I was his designer. He hired me to design his new home post-divorce, and he has 4 children, and he wanted his apartment to look more like a home, so he hired me to help him with that. Then a few years later, I went through a divorce, and the friend who had originally introduced us to each other let Bill know that my life was changing, and just thought she thought he might want to know that.
It was a great hint, and I took her up on that. As we dated, and as we got serious, I remember a moment that we had together, and as I like to say, it all started with a prayer. And we both desired a marital relationship where we could be in service with one another. I almost call it mission. We desired that. And I remember sitting in the car with that prayer. Mm-hmm. Lord, we want to be used. We don't know how, but we want to be in service together, in ministry together, in mission together. So as we think about engagement, and as we think about marriage, we want to be used. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah, God's answered that prayer over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Those prayers that if he would bless us with the continuance of our relationship, what would that look like in terms of each other spreading the gospel together into the world? So through our marriage, what could he use us for?
We heard the Lord say, start with your brokenness. And we both had entered our marriage, our new marriage of now 16 years, with brokenness and woundedness of divorce. And so where the Lord took us in our first journey was really from a volunteer standpoint of giving. And he took us into a ministry to help other people who had been down the same path, because we both felt the pain of divorce, not only individually, but in the lives of our children.
And I remember early in the first year of our marriage, a property I had sold. It wasn't even on the market, but someone approached me and wanted to buy it. It was a commercial property. And we sold it, and then we prayed over how to tithe with that money, and then the answer was so obvious that we were to give a chunk of that profit to the church to help start a marriage ministry. What we thought was going to be a one-and-done gift ended up being our whole lives. It wasn't just the money. It was, I mean, it's easy to write a check, you know. It's much harder to give up your life, your time, your calendar. But more than that, it's not just the time on your calendar, it's the investment of our emotions and our souls that are pouring into these people's lives. But the big benefit from all of that was that it flourished and grew our marriage.
I remember another moment, I'm not sure if we were dating, engaged, or early married, but it was about the money piece. And Brenda challenged me about our giving. You know, we were getting, okay, let's put everything on the table, balance sheets, income statements, giving, because we're bringing 2 families together. And this is the beauty and the power of a great wife, a godly wife, a truthful wife, an encouraging wife that she is. And she said, so tell me about your giving. I talked about the amount that I was giving. She goes, because she knew my level of provision, and she knew my income, and she quite frankly challenged me with my expectation, if we were to move forward and get engaged and get married, is that there would be a much larger gift to God's kingdom. How do you think about that? So I had to swallow really, really hard because my giving to date, I think, had been out of obligation because I thought I had to give. But the giving that I was doing at that time was not out of a response to what God had done for me. As God asked Israel, this isn't just about the blood of lambs and goats. This is about, I want your heart. And I really felt like that was a moment in our pre-marriage where Brenda challenged me, and there was a turning point in my understanding about giving.
I think one of the hard parts about being in a big church is we get this comment a lot. I don't know anybody here. I can't connect. I can't find my way. And the biggest blessing that we've ever received, both of us can attest to this, is by serving. So when we extend ourselves into service of others, it has brought us our closest friendships. We have bonded with the people we've served next to and developed the depth of relationship that you want and need in the church, the community of believers. And it's just blessed us in ways that you couldn't imagine. There is no place for loneliness when you're serving. God, He knew what He was doing when He created us, and when He calls us to serve, it's for our benefit.
I'll also add about service. I remember a sermon that Mark Davis preached years ago, and it was about the woman at the well. And one of the takeaways from the sermon for me that he used was, God uses broken people to bring broken people to Himself. And one of the misconceptions about service is that I've got to be ready. Mm-hmm. And that's a false statement. You think about Paul. Paul on the road to Damascus, his eyes and his heart were literally open to Christ. And 3 days later, he was out preaching. God used Brenda and me as broken people, and we're still broken people relationally, products of divorce, to help other people stay away from divorce or to recover from divorce, or to help young couples realize how to have a strong marriage. We're broken vessels. So I think one of my takeaways about Extend and service is that God prepares the way. In our flesh will never be ready enough for service. Dive in now.